Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody out there. I've got, I would say maybe my most favorite guest host today, my partner, best friend, business partner, and so much more, Jeffrey Wong. Say
Hey
hi.
now. I stole that from Hank.
We've been having some technical difficulties, so I hope you're not hearing like a stream of water, which is what we were kind of troubleshooting. But if so, we apologize uh, for that. And in festivities of the 4th, I've got my granddaughter's celebratory hat on here. Um, and today's topic, Jeff and I decided we are going to talk about summer safety, both for kiddos, water sports, our pets, etc. But before we do that, or actually no, we'll wrap up with uh, a little story or background on 4th of July and its history for our Independence Day. So let's just jump right in and talk about staying safe for the summer. So I would be remiss not to start off and talk about my business, which is Tadal by Cat. If we haven't met, Next Level Staging and Design. And we are very honored and blessed to have accrued and curated a huge amount of inventory so that we can help folks with from flip to multi-million dollar. We specialize in luxury, but my team loves Occupy. That's where you're living in your home and selling it, and you need it staged, and maybe even some what we call power pieces, where we bring in color, decor, faux botanicals, etc., to up level so that you look great in that first showing, which is online, more so now than ever. I think the stats used to be 87%. They're up in the 90s now that your first showing is going to be the pictures online, which is why we team up with wonderful creative genius photographers as well to make you look great. So I'm kind of digressing, but to tell you that the glamour side of staging is us sparkling or sweating in our unclimate controlled warehouse. It's a way that we can keep our prices down and pass them on to our clients. But during these Houston scorching 3-digit days, it can be quite grueling and sometimes unsafe. So right now, my main assistant, Adriana, and her helper are out. They've been out there since 5:30 this morning. That's really the safe time to go out between 5:30 and 10:30 and be done. We've got huge fans, etc. But you really not only have to be hydrated and stay hydrated, but Jeff and I have discovered recently, because Jeffrey recently, or not recently, but in the last couple of months, has joined a baseball team. And I applaud him for that, being in his almost 60 decade of living on this planet, is out playing baseball in his age group. And, it's really a different thing when you get to be a particular age. Sometimes, you have to pay more attention to the elements, et cetera, for safety. So, Jeff, share with us what you have created and discovered and actually shared with me as well. I'm going to be sharing it with you, Adriana, our concoction for staying safe with homemade electrolytes. So go for it, Mr. Jeff Spikon.
Well, I would have to start with that. Electrolyte drinks has been very popular because everybody know the brand name as Gatorade. And Gatorade was developed a long time ago in a university down in Florida for athletes to recoup during games. And Gatorade's now owned by, I believe, Coca-Cola, and it's full of chemicals, dyes, sugar, on and on and on.
All kinds of dyes. Those pretty colors, guys. That's FD, yellow, red, etc. All the horrible dyes that, unless you're living under a rock, you know that it's really bad for your health.
Right. So with the 100 degrees weather out in the baseball field this last few games, we definitely had to take that into consideration. So I bought water with electrolytes, and that was not enough. By fourth or fifth inning, I was depleted. I felt empty, and I was soaked in sweat. And ultimately, that game I lost 7 just from playing.
Seven.
So the next
You broke up 7 what?
7 pounds.
Wow.
I lost 7 pounds playing 2 games.
I think I lost 4 pounds sitting in the bleachers.
Yeah. So it was that kind of heat. So the next game coming up, I decided that I was going to do some research, and I found several different recipes, but ultimately it's salt, and baking soda, water, and lemon and lime juice. And interesting
So
enough,
let's go over that. So it's salt, baking soda, lemon and lime juice. Can you give
water.
And water?
Yeah.
So I know Jeff made up, our empty, what are they, liter bottles? He made those up, and then what I do is take my water bottle and just put about a half in it, so that I'm getting those electrolytes. But tell our audience about what's the amounts, Jeff.
Well, here's the thing. They gave the amount. It was a lot more than just that, liter bottle type of thing. So I kind of just had to improvise. I mean, it was like, quarter or half a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of salt. It was something of that nature. So I kind of experimented and played with it. And ultimately, I felt that it was good because it asked for maybe 3/4 cup of lemon juice, So there was a lot of lemon juice.
Okay, so let's just talk about a liter, because I think that's doable instead of a mass amount for most folks to take a liter water bottle. How much did you put in?
Yeah. Well,
a half teaspoon of baking soda?
Yeah. It's hard for me to say because I don't know this top of my head because I didn't
and
make
you know what?
it.
That's okay. We can post it. We'll post it when this goes on our YouTube channel in about 48 hours. We'll post the recipe for anybody who's interested. Actually, I could probably look it up on my phone. What happened to you, Jeff?
Okay. So I don't know exact amount because, like I said, I experimented. Okay. And I did this up in twofold. I did it by sight and taste, right?
Okay. Is this the one you sent me? Is that the recipe?
Yeah. Yeah, it says Kroger.
Okay. So we're looking at a half to 3/4 teaspoons of salt, and I would say sea salt would be your best. 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, so a lot less baking soda. This happens to be a 7 cups, so 7 cups of water, a half cup of freshly squeezed, organic if you can get them, lemons or lemon juice, 1 tablespoon again of organic lime juice, fresh squeezed, and 1/4 cup of honey, locally sourced if you can get it, or you can use a 1/4 teaspoon of clear liquid stevia, which I think is what Jeff used because I watch all forms of sugar. Or you can use 1/8 teaspoon of powdered stevia extract. So we'll post this, guys, later, but I want to tell you, I can tell you my testimony. I had gone out to the warehouse. It was over 100, and the first day to kind of direct, because we're having a big blowout sale. If anybody's watching this, and we'll be advertising, we're going to do 3 consecutive Saturdays. We're liquidating quite a bit of inventory. But the first day out, I had to go in my van several times to put the AC on. I felt lightheaded, dizzy, etc. It was staying hydrated, but just regular water. The second day, I tapped into Jeff's concoction, and I did the concoction in my drink size like this. I did about, I would say, 1/3 to 1/2 of this drink. And I was, sparkling or sweating, whichever you prefer. And it was hotter than Hades, but I was full of energy. I didn't have to take stops and feel like I was about to pass out. And it was still triple digits. So yay. A great solution and inexpensive to make. And of course, the benefits also is you're getting all that great fresh vitamin C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe our bottle is very concentrated because like I said, I did it according to sight and smell, or type taste. In this particular electrolyte formula reminded me a lot of what my high school used on the football team. You
And
know,
probably
so
back then, 40 years ago, they weren't using all the chemicals and dyes that they're using today, is my guess.
no, as a matter of fact, back in the school days, what I remember is they have commercials sold pouches that they would dump into those big coolers and dump ice and water and mix that up.
Oh, gotcha.
So was that by Gatorade? Probably. I don't know. But I know that it did never, ever taste like the Gatorade that you buy in stores, you know? So I always found that interesting that my stuff at school didn't taste like what you can buy.
Well, the bottom line for folks who are wondering about the taste, it was very, to me, refreshing. You know, it almost tastes like a little bit of a sparkling lemonade because you got that little twang of baking soda. And, you know, we make our own distilled water at home. And so, you know, although we get, you know, a fair amount of salt, Himalayan salt in our cooking and our diet, we have, you know, this is really added, and we're adding it to our regular water too, at least sea salt to, you know, and this adds the baking soda to add back electrolytes. We have a new dear friend and a wellness practitioner, Sadie, if you're out there, Sadie, and we're going to have her back on the show real soon to share her magic. And she's an expert in gut health, which so many of us suffer with. She kind of reminded us in our conversations about the importance of bringing back those I guess, minerals, I guess it is, electrolytes and so forth. And the easiest way is just, even if you just sprinkle a little Himalayan salt into your distilled water. So if you're drinking distilled water out there, make sure you get some trace elements back in. Sea salt's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. What you will find is that you're not chugging this like you do a bottle of water. You're actually taking sips. You know, you probably don't drink more than 8 ounces at a time. You don't need to. And the uniqueness about having your electrolyte monitored while you're doing, you know, physical labor or in extreme heat conditions and so forth, you will find that your stamina stays much longer.
Yeah, and that's what I noticed being in the warehouse. If anybody who's a homestager out there, you know, it can be grueling, even if you have a climate control unit, you know, which most realtors, if they're doing a little bit of staging, they do not. You know, so it's been a game changer for me.
Absolutely.
So we are almost at 13 minutes, Mr. Jeffrey Wong. So I would like to move into hydration is huge, huge, huge. Of course, you want to have your full spectrum sunscreen on out there, guys, if you're by the pool or outside. Don't forget your arms, your ears, your face, full spectrum sunscreen. There's also some things, and I'll try to pull it and post it on the YouTube channel. There's a couple things that were just brought to my attention that are carcinogenic that may be in your sunscreen. So you may want to look at that, you know, again, so that you're not putting some kind of damaging chemical on your biggest organ in the body, which is our skin. So that segue right into pool safety, and then you can talk about pets, Jeffrey. Pool safety, if you're going to the pool, if you're near a pool, if you have a pool, you know, watch the alcohol intake if you do imbibe when there's small children. You know, make sure they have their floaties and so forth and their sunscreen. Excuse me. Anything else on the pool side, Jeff?
No, one thing, you know, whenever you're doing pools, you just got to be smart. Don't run around the pool area.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, you know, pool safety, let's think of number one. No lifeguard on site means what? Don't leave your kids by themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Also, be aware of how chlorinated that pool water really is in that particular pool before you decide to spend 4 hours in it. You know?
Absolutely. And of course, you know, shower off, because chlorine's not good for our biggest organ, which is our skin. So, you know, most pools do have chlorine to keep them clean, et cetera, unless you have the benefit of going to a friend who has a saltwater pool. then that's the case. So I'm going to top off water safety with something that was brought to my attention. Actually, I believe it was a dog walker gal, this young lady who we're vetting to be a dog sitter when we take a couple of trips here, and she was taking her CPR, and I thought, wow, that's very prudent of you, to take CPR. And I've taken it through the years, but it's been way too many years. I think it's something that everybody really should take. And I just saw online, I don't know the name of it, but you can Google CPR online. You can actually take your CPR certification online. When I took it back in Southern California, I think it was at the fire department one time, at a community center another time. But Jeff and I are overdue. And this is something, to think you could save a life by having this skill. It's $12.95 is the one I saw. You can go online, get your CPR certification. You'll be glad you did, and hopefully you'll never have to use it. But if you do, you'll be armed. It could be your spouse. Maybe your spouse is elderly or ill, or vice versa, or a relative, and so you'll have that equipped. So that's on Jeff and our action item list, and we're definitely going to get CPR certified, right, Jeff?
Yes.
Yes. Where's the thumb?
Well,
that's a thumbs up. That's a thumbs up. You'll be glad you did it. So that ends the water safety. Jeff, I want to talk about pet safety, and then we'll go right into 4th of July or fireworks safety, and then a little bit of history on the 4th of July, and then we'll be signing off. So let's talk about our pets. We have 4 dogs, in case anybody doesn't know, 4 wonderful fur babies. So we want to keep them safe. Mostly we only take them in the car when we're taking them to the groomers, but there's still things that you need to kind of, double check for in that. So let's do some talking points on pet safety, Jeff.
Well, pet safety, I think number one thing during the summer weather that most folks are not aware is how hot the pavements are. And the concrete becomes, even if you're walking a dog a short time, their paws could get scorched and get burned. And that Absolutely. Is one of the most overlooked situation for our pets.
So there's a couple things you can do for that. Because we try to go early because I can't take the scorching heat walking the dogs, and we have a dog park built in, so it's not paramount that we take them for walks. But we do like to walk around the neighborhood. It's about a 20-minute walk just around the block. 2 things that you can do if you have the means, you can make or buy pet covers or paw covers that will protect them. I've tried it years ago with one of our dogs that's now in our pet cemetery, and this didn't stay on too well. I don't know if it was the design or the dog was so tiny, but that's something you might want to experiment with, or maybe you already have. The second thing is we have 2 doodles. We adopted 2 siblings, Dolly and Rooster, Aussie doodles, grown to be quite big dogs. We don't know how much they weigh yet. We haven't done Euroscale, but they got to be 65 pounds at least. And one of them gets, they are actually prone to, the gal that connected me with Cindy, hey Cindy, if you're listening, let us know that you can get paw salve. So we have paw salve. In fact, I need to put it on Dolly. I think it's Dolly that has, you can feel kind of a roughness on their paw, which is how you know that even though they can't tell you or will go, oh, they'll just suffer through it, but then they'll will be damage, or abrasion on their paw. So those are 2 things that are a possibility on that. What's another point for pet safety in the summer, Jeff?
Safety in the summer, especially if they're going to be outside an extended period, what you want is some kind of shelter, a doghouse, a shaded area with plenty of fresh water available. What I've created in a dog park in the backyard is a system that actually comes out into a flow into a dog dish that has a float system in it, so as they drink it go down. And with
so
that,
so what you're saying, it's like on demand. If it gets low, when they
That's
drink
right.
it'll pump some more. Okay.
Yeah, it keeps on pumping if
Okay.
water.
You got that on Amazon probably?
Yeah, you can find stuff like that on Amazon. You know, one of the key things, just keep in mind that water gets warm, then it gets hot if it's directly on sunlight in a very short time. I mean, you know, we're going through several weeks of high 90s, low 100s.
Yeah.
So with yeah, you have to really consider that an hour outside is a long time if there's no shading.
Yes,
So,
please, 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 if you're going to have, I'm going to tell you what's a funny story for me. Someone coming from California, when we first got our Sadie Lulu, she was a rescue, white, I think she was albino, a white lab mix. We thought she was, they said she was Great Pyrenean lab. So we prepared her, you know, I mean, we went and got this big chain link, I guess you call it chain link kind of material, dog. I mean, it was big, like 12 by 5 or something, dog kennel for the side of the yard. We have a big pie shaped yard. And we were preparing for, you know, because I'm researching and it says, oh yeah, this kind of dog can get to be 190 pounds, right? Well, first off, I wasn't thinking, I was pretty new to Texas coming from Southern California, which this is not weather-wise. And so very quickly, what did we put her in there once or twice? And it wasn't even summer. She was like, oh no, I'm out of here. So needless to say, she became an indoor dog. All of our dogs have been indoor dogs. Now, I grew up back in the day, you know, Rex, our German Shepherd watchdog, was on a long chain and was a watchdog. And he stayed out on the side yard. You know, my dad built him a run and stuff, you know, with cement and this and that. But, you know, it was really kind of sad. He was just an outdoor dog. Now, he didn't have to weather the weather. You know, that wasn't an issue. You know, it's just kind of sad, I thought. So, but, so, you know, some people, no matter, you know, if you live on, maybe you live on acreage or this and that, and you have an outdoor dog, just, you know, try to create some kind of shade for your dog is the biggest, you know, shade and water. Yeah. That's what they need.
Yeah.
Right. But I miss
something? Absolutely. So those are the things that definitely keep in mind. Just remember, you know, pets, your fur babies, you know, treat it like if you were outside. If you started to get overheated, you started to get hot, you just think, how would they feel, right?
Right. So, and their hearts beat much faster. They're, you know, smaller. And then something that we need to talk about is for pets also, and this really is for summer or any time, but if you're taking your pets in the car with you, you know.
Well, if you take your, you know, the idea is if you want to get some exercises with the dogs, find your local dog park. Often dog parks are dirt and grass. So there's no elements of overheating other than, you know, just the direct sunlight on uncovered area.
Right. But I'm talking about, you know, I mean, haven't you seen people? Well, I've seen people leave their kids in the car, but.
No, never leave.
And my mom and dad used to leave 5 of us in a car, but whole other story.
As a matter of fact, there's a lot of laws that's been passed about, you know, dogs being left in cars, even with the AC running or windows cracked. You know, it's just it's a recipe for disaster a lot of times, just for the simple fact that if the AC got shut off by accident, if the car dies for whatever reason, if you
have to run in,
if
you have to run in with your dog, and you know, sometimes you do, whether it's the grocery store real quick or the dry cleaners. I'll tell you a story. Back in Southern California, I had my Jeep that had a soft top. I had our Pomeranian, dear Romeo, in the back with me. And, you know, because of the weather there, I could leave him in the car, and I did. It was probably 65 degrees or whatever. So I left him in the car, and I go in. All I was running in for is a loaf of bread. I'm on the bread aisle, and here comes this little auburn fluffy Pomeranian. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I scoop him up, and I thought, well, you know, I'm going to, I mean, back then you couldn't have a service dog or whatever, but I just held him in my arms, and I apologized to the lady. I said, I'm so sorry, my dog wanted to get me. And they thought that he was a teddy bear. They thought it was a stuffed animal. You know, he was only about 8-10 pounds, and that kind of, you know, chestnut color. So he did look like a teddy bear. But yeah, if you can't, you know, just take him in. If you can hold excuse me, if you can hold your dog, I think today, I mean, I see people with their dogs in stores.
But you don't even need to do
I
that. I mean, seriously, let's think about what's going on and what's offered in service for our grocery shopping today. You can actually pull up to a grocery store, open their app, order whatever you want, just sit in the car until they bring it to you.
Oh,
So there's
true.
no reason to ever leave your pets.
That's true. And dry cleaners. That's one of the things I love. 20 plus years when we came here, like there was nothing drive through in California. I was like, oh, I'm loving this. Drive through to the dry cleaners. And I know why. It's because there's such drastic weather and really a lot of rain. When it does rain, there's a lot of rain. So that's brilliant. Thank you, Texas, for that, having drive through with this, heat that we get. And heat as well as rain. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why, think about what you need to do and what you want to do. Don't put your pets at risk. Don't put yourself at risk. In other words, I'm going to go work on the garden. It's 11 o'clock. It's getting hot. I'll just do another half hour. Pay attention. Are you hydrating? Are you getting overheated? Because it only takes a matter of a few seconds when you get up. You go, oh my God, my head's light. I'm feeling faint. And all because of over sun exposure.
Yes, and really the best advice is what we have implemented working at the warehouse. And I'm so thankful for Adriana is an early bird person like I am. And that is whatever you're going to do, maybe you can't get up at 5:30 or 6, but don't get out there any earlier than 7 to do your garden work. That's what I would recommend. Yeah,
absolutely.
Just do your stuff outside early. To be safe and take care of yourself.
Yeah, schedule effectively during the summer days for outdoor activities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like my baseball team playing at 3:00 where it's 100 degrees. That was not optimal.
No, that's the game I went to. Yeah, I was melting.
No, what's interesting is because of that first game in 100-degree weather, the second game later on when we played last week, we was so much better prepared by everybody. We all understood what we were facing.
Yeah, because that was the first one that was the triple digits. That's right.
And just keep in mind, I just want to say this, that I play in a baseball league of 55 years and older. Most of my teammates are in their mid to late 60s, including a few 70-year-olds. And we all go out there in this heat and play baseball exactly like the way we played it when we were kids. And everybody's conditioning was excellent. And a lot of it has to do with understanding your own body, maintaining a hydration, maintaining electrolytes, and not overdoing it when you don't have to.
Yep. Absolutely.
Where's the wisdom right there?
Whatever you're doing, playing baseball, working in a warehouse, gardening, whatever you're doing. And, of course, make sure that your kiddos are doing the same thing in this excruciating heat. So we've got, where are we at? We've got just a couple minutes here. So I hope everybody coming up, it's kind of seems strange to me. 4th of July is during the week. So it's going to cut up the week and then boom, got to get back to work. We've got things on the calendar already. But I want to hear what you're doing. If you're watching this, drop a line and tell me how you celebrate 4th of July and what's your favorite thing to barbecue or cook. What are we doing, honey? Are we doing brisket? What are we doing?
No, we're going to do leg of lamb.
Oh, that's right. Lego.
We're going to change it up this year. Instead of me slaving outside for 10 hours or anything. We're going to roast them.
So that's going to be in our roaster pan? Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to do it in the oven probably because lamb doesn't take that long.
But that's going to make the house hot.
No, it's not. We'll take care of it.
Okay. All right. Stay tuned. So I want to hear what you're going to have. Jeff's favorite dishes. My daughter, bless her heart, oldest daughter, has to work. She's in the food industry. But there'll be plenty of food for you, Tanya, if you're listening when you get off. And she usually makes deviled eggs. So if you're watching this, Tanya, I'll make deviled eggs this year. I'll try. Jeff will have to boil and peel that. Hey, what's your trick? Let's share the trick for deviled eggs. So peeling the eggs. Don't you have a hot tip for that?
I just think one of the things about making boiled eggs that people are missing and why the skin doesn't, or the shell doesn't crack correctly and it pulls
Yeah,
out
don't
your
you
egg.
hate that when it takes all the egg?
Yeah. So one of the couple things that you have to do is just number one, when you boil your eggs up, don't cool it with ice or anything like that. Just let it cool naturally. And as it becomes a little bit above lukewarm, it's ready to be peeled. And usually, if the egg is cooked, 3 to 5 minutes, it should peel right off.
Okay, and
Perfect.
we've done that. It does work. But you know what? I was taught, as I'm sure many of you were out there, to run it in cold water and put ice cubes in it.
No.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the temperature aspect of it is what causes the stick. And I've noticed this more so when you boil your eggs and then stick it in the refrigerator, then you pull it back out and you want to make egg salad, tuna, whatever you want to make. When you try to peel that egg and you realize, hey, half the egg's coming off with my shell. Soak those eggs coming out of the refrigerator into hot water from your faucet until it kind of warms it up. Then you'll notice that membrane in your shell
works. I've done that tip. Yes, I forgot about that tip. Yeah, because sometimes we don't peel them right away and they go in the refrigerator.
Yeah. So that's my tip of the week on that. My other tip of the week is definitely that maintaining your air conditioning with a little bit more attentiveness. In other words, if you're running 72 degrees, don't just run it straight through all day. You're taxing your system very hard. And of course, electric companies are charging primo rates during this time period. So, it's a double whammy. So pay attention to that. If you're not at home, don't need to cool your house. Use your smart thermometer or thermostats to be able to schedule on and off. Like at night, you can cool your house efficiently. That would carry all the way through past noon if you just make sure that you cool during the cooler period of outside. And it doesn't tax your system nearly as hard. And it actually, when you wake up, it's nice and very comfortable. And that comfortable will last for several hours before that sun beats it back down onto you. So
okay, and this is a disclaimer. Jeff is not an HVAC specialist, but we have found this to be true. So if there's anybody listening to this who wants to chime in as an HVAC specialist.
No, but I will say this. You and I both have been in new home business.
Yes.
You and I both represented home builders with extremely eco-green technologies.
Yep.
It's not like we don't know what we're talking about. We actually know the HVAC.
I know. And every home is different. Like our home is over 20 some years old. Yeah. So we have a different system. But this principle runs true, in any basic system. Thank you for that, Jeff. We're going to go right into signing off and giving a little history on the 4th of July. It actually goes back to the 18th century when the American colonies were under British rule. The colonies, which included areas that would later become the United States, which were subject to British laws and taxes. So over time, there was a lot of tension between the colonies, and Britain grew, leading to a desire for a greater self-governance. So the signing of the Declaration of Independence, we all know that, marked the birth of the United States as a new nation separate from Great Britain. It symbolizes the colonies' determination to govern themselves and establish a system based on democratic principles. And I just want to thank everyone from the 18th century on that helped create and carve out and fight for our freedom. So freedom rules, and bless us, bless our country, and bless everyone on this coming up 4th of July holiday as you celebrate your freedom. And as always, stay hopeful, stay positive, stay connected, and be safe this holiday. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th.